Frank from Family Life. So one of the things that I do in the fall and in the early part of the new year is I get my snowmobiles ready. I'm gonna do a quick video today on some of the general maintenance that you have to do to get them ready, because there's so many little things, and these are basically rocket ships on snow. They have small motors with high horsepower, a lot of moving parts. They require a lot of maintenance, and you have to really be diligent on annual maintenance for your snowmobiles, because if you are not, you will end up on the side of the trail somewhere up north Ontario, where I like to ride, and you'll be broke. It's a really miserable day if you get yourself towed back to somewhere, especially when it's really cold. Anyways, let me go over some of the general maintenance that I do. Okay, so this is the Arctic Cat. This is a little 500. My little guy drives this one, just loves it. It is I believe it's a 2006. Some of the things I had to do on this year was, of course, you have to grease your tracks. You got to check your sliders in the bottom end. So the sliders are here. And they have a little wear bar. There's a little wear bar right on the slider. And that wear bar, if you get close to it, then it's time to change your sliders. And every snowmobile that I have here has a wear mark on the slider to tell you it's time to change them. So what you do with an old snowmobile like this one doesn't leave the property. This one stays here and it gets used only here. It doesn't go on the trails because I don't want it to be, trail riding is great, but it's usually high kilometers and they get beat up pretty good. My little guy is only 10, so he's not going to be able to take this on the trail, even if you wanted to, for another 3 years anyways. So anyways, check the chain case on this, clean the clutches, make sure that your belt deflection is strong. You don't want to have a loose belt or a loose track. You want to make sure that, and every year I put stabilizer in these in the spring to make sure that they don't get all gummed up in the carbs. Some of my newer sleds will have fuel injectors, but this Polaris, big deal with this one this year. The Polaris had, it got stuck last year and it was really, really bad. It started skipping on the chain, in the chain case. Maybe one of the jack shaft bearings was out of it, but I got lucky.
What are you trying to show? This is a good little rip around sled.
Put their 900 Ace turbos, so the sleds are all computerized, everything from top to bottom, but it's a mechanical reverse. So you literally have to reach down and pull the thing into reverse,
like this.
Like his. This is a 2007, and the other 900 Aces
2021.
are 2020 and 2021, and they're the same reverses. It's actually quite sad. My reverse is just, you hit a button up here and it clicks it into reverse.
Everybody's got their troubles, everybody's been alone. There's nobody here that could make it on their own. When the worries all around you, got you bad and you can't sleep. Listen, baby, and I tell you what you need. Can you feel no pain when you
fast, don't you? That's all I know. Nice. Could really throw this thing around if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Feel cold.
This thing doesn't have a seat warmer, but it has a handlebar warmer through the whole thing.
So
It
your
even
hands.
warms my throttle. Stay nice and warm.
It's a cold one today. The sun is.
It was this morning. It's only like -7 now.
Sun is misleading. Oh yeah.
It was like -22 this morning.
You coming with me, Baba? You wanna drive?
Good times roll. Hey baby, throw your cares away. Good times roll. Leave your worry for another day. Good times roll. Leave yesterday behind and let the good times roll tonight. So let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Good times roll tonight. Oh, let them good times roll tonight.
Hello, friends. I am just coming to you just to share a little bit of a voiceover here on this section of the video. Just to kind of talk to you a little bit, like probably wondering what this has to do with homesteading and country living. And yeah, it has nothing to do with that. It's just something that our family loves to do, specifically my boys. And I thought I'd share some of it with you. So hopefully you enjoyed. But I just wanted to come to you and just tell you that the boys absolutely have been love snowmobiling. They've been doing it since they were little. It actually had a huge part to do with why we decided to move out to the country. Our boys have always kind of ridden dirt bikes and snowmobiles and things like that. And when you're living in an estate subdivision, the neighbors aren't overly happy. Although we're very handy to the trails, they would have to drive through the subdivision to get to those. And the neighbors just weren't overly kind to them. So this was kind of nice, you know. The trails are quite handy to their country property now, and they don't have to upset anybody to be able to take advantage of riding on our local trails. Which, interestingly enough, I wanted to share that this year, there's some friends driving by. I just learned that means that he's the last rider. That's a signal for them. Anyways, there's some lingo out there. That's kind of why I don't go, because I am not familiar with how to ride. Frank has often asked me to join them out on the trails. And it's just not my jam. I know that I would hold everybody back, and he just wanted to just him and I go, but just not overly a big fan of it all. The smell of it just is not, it's not my thing. So you know what? I will celebrate them enjoying themselves out there on the trails, and encourage them to get out as much as they can and enjoy the time together. The one thing that I did want to say though is the 2021 season has kind of been a little bit different for the guys this year. I know that typically it's only because of the pandemic that they haven't been able to trailer north of Ontario. They like to go to Cochrane, Temagami, Northern Ontario, wherever they can, and get some good powder. This is a local trail ride, actually, what you're watching here. This is local to our house, and interestingly enough, the last 2 years these trails have not been open, because as you can see, even as much, oh, here we go right there, that's a good example of what happens around here. is these trails just are not overly abundant with snow, and the sleds really need a little bit more than that. Also, too, the temperatures don't really get that cold here, as cold as it is. Northern Ontario, they get extremely cold. So this is, as you well know, this is not the greatest conditions for the actual sleds themselves. But you can still see it's actually quite beautiful out there going through the trails. And like I said, this is literally just out our backyard, so out our front door kind of thing. So this has kind of been nice that they've been able to get out on the trails, because the Ontario Snowmobile Commission shut down all of the trails to non-residents. So you couldn't trailer in there, and they're just trying to keep the stay-at-home order and keep everyone safe. So if you don't live in the area, you're not able to actually enjoy their trails up there, which is such a shame, because this has probably been one of the best snow winters. Oh, there I am. So this was literally me on the trail, or on the snowmobile. This is Frank's snowmobile for the very first time. He's, like I said, trying desperately to get me to enjoy the riding, but that actually was probably the very first time I've ever driven it. I've always been on the back with somebody. So it's a little rocket ship on snow, and it's just a little uncomfortable for me. So not my thing, but I hope they continue to do it. One of the things the boys were always told by Frank is that if they're going to ride, they have to know how to wrench, and Mitchell is extremely good with the engines, and he can Frank has rebuilt a few snowmobile engines, and he's really good mechanically to help fix these up. Mitchell is very good at breaking them. He loves to, there's somebody not happy with them. She's out doing her little hike, so I guess that's kind of sharing trails. It's tough. But one of the things that Mitchell loves to do is, he's not a fan of the trail riding so much as he loves to drift, ditch bang, and go out into the fields and the open fields and things like that. You'll find him venturing often off the trail wherever he can, if he's allowed to. So he likes to be more adventurous. As you've seen at the beginning of that, he likes to lift the sleds up and kind of do wheelies and things like that, and kind of push them to their limits. And so a lot of times that requires a little bit of extra mechanical work. So Frank has been pretty, there he's just indicating he's the last rider. So Frank has been very good at explaining that they have to fix the sleds if they break them. And because Mitchell, it doesn't matter how often he gets on him, he always seems to have the worst luck. And so he's not out there as much as he used to be, but which is kind of sad for Frank and the other boys. But anyways, yeah, they are enjoying this ride. So this ride is actually I think, if I'm not mistaken, they are on their way to Arthur area, and then through the trails up through Markdale possibly, and so yeah, it is a beautiful ride, and I'm just thankful that the snow has been abundant enough that they've been able to get out, because like I said, the cost of snowmobiling has risen so much between the permits and the insurances and things like that. So to only be able to get out a couple of times a year on these things, it's really expensive. So it's something that we've had to revisit to decide whether or not it even makes sense to be snowmobiling around here. But as you can see, they just love doing it, and it's one of those things that if they're outside and enjoying the fresh air, which I don't know that fresh air, there's actually a lot of fresh air being had here when you're inhaling these fumes. Like, oh my goodness, it's kind of a smell that apparently you love if you're a snowmobiler, but oh, clearly I'm not a snowmobiler, because oh my goodness, not a fan of that smell. But yeah, so it's kind of been, this is kind of an interesting, once you've seen a trail ride, so there's not really much more going on, but I just wanted to share some of the voiceover and walk you through this video so that it wasn't too stale. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed, guys. So until next time, keep well and stay safe.
back out tomorrow.